Well, hey guys, welcome back to another day. My name's Tyler. Today we're going to be back on our little Chinese pit bike. Um, I'm still having kind of a hard starting issue on this thing. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to get in here and do a quick valve adjustment on this. I'll show you guys how to do that. It's quick, simple. So follow along and let's get this thing done. So if you look on your engine here, on the top and bottom, you're going to have these little plates. They're either a 2-screw plate, which I believe is the SSR, and then you're going to have, on some of them, you have these little dudes that screw in like this. They have a little O-ring on them. Make sure you don't lose that O-ring. You're going to have one on the intake valve and one down here on the bottom on the exhaust valve. So, I'm going to pull these off real quick. Just like that. Okay. So now we've got our valves exposed. You're probably going to get a little oil on you. Don't be alarmed. That's normal. And once you have those off, you want to come over here to the passenger side, or the right side of the bike, whatever you want to call it, and you're going to pull your spark plug out. Just for reference, usually spark plug's usually a 5/8 on probably 99% of these little bikes. Got some oil on our plug. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to get a screwdriver and stick it down in there, and we're going to watch our valves. So as we roll this over, we're going to have an intake stroke and a compression stroke. So we want, when the intake valve closes, we want this piston to start coming back up. And whenever it's at the top of the stroke after the intake valve closes, that's going to be top dead center. And you should have a little bit of slop in both of these. So let me grab something and I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so we've got a little screwdriver here. You'll be able to feel this piston in here moving as you do this. Now, that's intake. So now we're going to keep going until the piston's at top dead center. So I felt it. And there we are. We're at the top. We have no play in this valve up here. So I want to make sure that I'm right, but I'm like 99% sure I'm where I need to be. But I'm going to go through and just check again. Valve open, valve shut. Okay, there we are. Still zero play in that at all. So, very confident now that I know where I'm at. There we are. Zero play. Alright, so this is going to be a 9mm, so we're going to back this off. And then we're going to get a feeler gauge in there, and we're going to go 3 thousandths on the top, 5 thousand on the bottom. So intake 3 thou, exhaust 5 thou. Exhaust has a little wiggle room in it, but this intake valve is tight, tight, tight. Okay, so I'm just going to back this off just a hair here. Feeler gauge. We're going to find 3. There's 002. There's 003. So there's our intake valve. So we're going to take our feeler gauge. We're going to jam it down in here. Nope, still not loose enough. Okay, there we go. So now, got our feeler gauge in there, underneath our adjuster. We're going to go until we get just a little bit of drag. Still not. It's a lot of drag. There we go. So now we got a little bit of drag on our intake. So we're going to go ahead and tighten. Check and make sure. Still got a little drag. I'm just going to leave this in here and tighten it up. Okay, so after tightening, we're a little tight. So we're going to come back and we're going to back out just a hair and then bring our jam nut in. And tighten. See where we're at. Beautiful. Just a little tiny bit of drag there. Okay, so now that one's adjusted. Now on this bottom valve, we're just going to repeat the process. I've already loosened it and got my feeler gauge in there. We're just going to come down till we feel a little bit of pressure. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go back just a hair so that when I tighten this and that tensioner ultimately turns, we don't have the valve over tightened. A little bit of slop. Valves feel really nice. They're not over tightened. And I really think that that's the issue that we were having before. So I think this intake valve was sticking open just a hair. Yep. Whenever we were trying to start it. So now, what we're going to do is we're going to put it all back together and crank it up. Well, we got the bike back together now. Fuel is on. Flip the choke on. See if she starts a little bit easier. Right up. Easy peasy, man. Like nothing. How about them freaking apples, boys? Just needed a valve adjustment. Should have done that before I put a new carb on it. Rock and roll. Let me show you how quick this thing fires now. Look at this. Watch. That's ridiculous. I love it. Well, today, I think what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and try to replace this fuel tank, because there's a hole in the front of it up here. It's rusted through. So what I did is I bought a plastic one to replace it. I don't know if it's going to fit yet. That remains to be seen. It looks pretty close, so we're going to find out here very shortly if whether or not this is going to be a direct replacement or not. But I didn't want to put another metal one on it just for it to rust through again. So let's see if we can get this thing done. Okay. So it looks like we just got some Allen wrench or Allen keys here. We need to pop out. We're just going to take everything loose real quick. I don't have any power tools with me, so, you know, it's going to take twice as long as it should. bunch of mismatched hardware on it, so it's been off before. Yeah, I mean, I'll show you guys in a second, but there's a bunch of rust on this thing. Alright, let's go ahead and lop these two that are holding this off. One here, loose as can be, that's good. We got one down here. Can you see? Yep. Now, the one thing about the new one I really don't like is that there's no petcock on it, but we're going to just struggle through here and make this thing work. Oh, there we go. Gasoline everywhere. Alright. I went ahead and snatched this bracket off this other one while it was in the back of my truck because it was leaking gas everywhere, so don't mind the fact that there was no video there. I was about to make a huge mess. So I kind of compared these tanks together. They're, I mean, pretty dang similar, so we're just going to go ahead and rock with it. From the research I did, this should be the right tank, so I'm just going to cross my fingers and pretend that we did our due diligence. Okay. There we go. Alright, now we're going to put our bolts back in. Okay, now I'm just going to leave that one kind of loose, and then we'll throw our front one in. There we go. There we go. Now, throw new stuff on. Put our knockoff covers here back on. I'm guessing they were trying to make this look like a KX something or another. Look at that. Those holes even line up. How about them apples? Screws the wrong size. Of course they are. Why wouldn't they be? Alright. Well, that's good enough for now. Let's see if it still runs. I would assume so, because all we did was cut the fuel off and put it back on, but okay, that's not gonna fit. Alright, let's start it. There we go. Alright, now we just need some bolts that'll fit in that. So let's figure that out. Well, there, we got our new tank to fit. This bolt that holds this bracket on down here fits in these. So what I need to do is go get me a few of these and some washers. Put these panels back on the side, but now we got a nice plastic gas tank. Thank goodness. Okay, so I found a solution to our woes here. I went down to the hardware store and bought some just regular old bolts. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bolt these on instead of using Allen heads, and just space them out with washers like that. We'll just make it work for now. So, temporary solution to a permanent problem. So, where does this one go? This one goes on the other side. So that needs to go right there, like that, like that. We're going to need another washer on there. So I'm going to have to go 3 washers deep on each side, I think, to make these bolts work. Hopefully it doesn't interfere with the seat or anything. Ugh. All right, let's see if it interferes with our seat. Survey says yeah, I mean, it's gonna chew that bottom edge up eventually, but for the time being, whatever. I think it'll be fine. Good enough for me. Well, there you have it. I think she's pretty close to dialed in now. I need to wash it. I think I'm going to go ahead and put a new clutch cable on it, because it's been hitting right here and kind of chewed the clutch cable up. Shouldn't take me too long to do that. That's an easy peasy fix. Just needs to be zip tied up out of the way. She runs great now. I mean, literally, it takes nothing to get this thing started now. There you go. Running, idling, everything's good. I can't believe how good this thing runs after that valve adjustment. It's like, I don't know why I didn't do that sooner. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. Have a great day. Make sure to like and subscribe.